Redwood City is located in the heart of Silicon Valley, a technology-rich region extending from the San Francisco Peninsula to the foothills of the Santa Cruz Mountains. The first inhabitants in the area were the Lamshin. These Native Americans lived peacefully, gathering nuts and berries off the land, and fished from the San Francisco Bay. In the 18th century, the Lamshin were displaced by Spanish explorers who established a series of presidios and missions along the California coast. With the arrival of more Spanish colonists, land was granted to high-ranking officers in return for their service to the country. One such officer, Don José Dario Arguello, received 69,000 acres between San Mateo Creek to the north and San Francisquito Creek to the south, naming it Rancho de las Pulgas. The property was inherited by his son, Don Luis Arguello, and the family ownership was reaffirmed by the Mexican government after California gained independence from Spain in 1822. By the late 1840s, hundreds of Americans began the journey west in search of gold and prosperity. While gold was the impetus, the discovery of a deepwater channel would become Redwood City's watershed moment.
Back in the time of the gold rush, Redwood Creek was the only natural deepwater channel on the west side of San Francisco Bay. As San Francisco grew so rapidly, the demand was for lumber, and there was a ready source of redwood lumber right near and adjacent to Redwood Creek.
Lumber was the second gold rush because the gold up in the mountains was going to be played out at some point or other. The trees kept right on growing, and there was a continuing need for them as they began building cities, especially San Francisco, because they built it out of wood and it kept burning down.
Dr. R.O. Tripp and others began to explore San Mateo County for its lumber resources. Tripp and his partners are credited with locating the sloughs and so forth that allowed Redwood City to become our first bayside community in San Mateo County.
A route was created from the mountaintops in Woodside to the base of Redwood City. This route, known as Redwood Ravine, was cleared and a path was created for oxen to pull the loads to a sawmill or directly to Redwood Creek.
You wanted something good and sturdy hauling you down those steep hills because the grade coming from up and Kings Mountain up there was quite steep.
They mostly would cut the logs up there. They would cut them into boards, and then they would put them on wagons and bring them down Kings Mountain Road and make their way to Woodside Road and downtown to the port.
The driver of the thing sat on top of a load of lumber, and it was all just sort of shoved onto this buckboard. If anything went wrong, that was a really dangerous job.